In the final days of World War I, in 1918, a shocking event unfolded in the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, an event that remains an unsolved mystery to this day. The USS Cyclops, a massive U.S. Navy coal transport ship measuring over 165 meters in length and weighing more than 19,000 tons, mysteriously vanished along with its 306 crew members and passengers. No distress signals, no debris, and the area where it disappeared? The infamous Bermuda Triangle, a region long associated with unexplained disappearances. The final letters sent home by the crew still exist, yet no one can explain what truly happened to them. Why was no wreckage ever found? And why, more than a century later, do we still have no answers? Join me as we unravel this enigmatic story and search for clues to solve one of the greatest maritime mysteries in U.S. history. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to subscribe to History AI Knowledge. Your support motivates us to bring you amazing historical stories. In 1917, the United States officially declared war on the German Empire, joining the Allies against the Central Powers. The conflict escalated, especially in the Atlantic, where the German U-boat campaign posed a serious threat. Germany had launched unrestricted submarine warfare, attacking both military and civilian ships. The U.S. Navy was tasked with protecting vital shipping lanes between America and Europe, ensuring a steady supply of weapons, food, and raw materials. To keep naval operations running smoothly, an uninterrupted supply of coal was critical. At the time, coal was the primary fuel source for the U.S. Navy, long before oil became the standard. With approximately 150 major warships and hundreds of escort vessels, all requiring vast amounts of coal, the challenge was clear. How could the Navy maintain a steady and reliable coal supply? Fortunately, the U.S. had abundant coal reserves, particularly in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Coal from these mines was transported by rail to key naval ports such as Norfolk, Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland, and New York. To support its fleet, the Navy established strategic coal depots at bases like Hampton Roads, Virginia, and Newport News, ensuring warships could refuel efficiently. Large warships like battleships and cruisers required frequent refueling to sustain long operations. A warship stranded without fuel in the middle of the ocean would be an easy target for German submarines. However, refueling at ports often created logistical bottlenecks, forcing ships to wait in long queues and disrupting military campaigns. This is where vessels like the USS Cyclops played a crucial role, serving as a key link in the supply chain, ensuring the fleet remained fueled and operational in the heat of battle. The USS Cyclops was built at the William Cramp & Sons Shipbuilding Company, a renowned American shipyard founded in 1825 by William Cramp. At its peak in the late 19th century, the company was considered one of the leading shipbuilders in the United States, specializing in constructing both warships and vital commercial vessels. The Cyclops was a coal transport ship of the Proteus class, officially commissioned on November 1, 1910. It was specifically designed to supply fuel to the U.S. Navy's fleet of warships. With a length of approximately 165 meters and a capacity of over 12,000 tons of coal, the ship was named after the Cyclops, the race of giants in Greek mythology. The Cyclops was under the command of Captain George W. Worley, a man born in Germany under the name Johann Friedrich Wichmann. It is believed that he immigrated to the United States and, for reasons unknown, changed his name to obscure his German origins. Among the crew, Worley was not well liked. Many sailors found him to be hot-tempered and excessively harsh in disciplining mistakes. Some even reported that he displayed odd behaviors, such as wandering the ship at night, wearing nothing but his underwear. The USS Cyclops was assigned to transport manganese, a crucial metal used in munitions production, from Brazil to the United States. The ship departed from Rio de Janeiro on February 16th and later arrived at the port of Bridgetown, Barbados, on March 3, 1918, for refueling and resupplying before its final journey to Baltimore. During its time in Barbados, some crew members were granted shore leave, while others remained on board to inspect the cargo and engines. Reports indicate that the Cyclops experienced an issue with one of its engines. This was no minor problem. Given the ship's massive 19,000-ton weight, an imbalance in propulsion could significantly reduce maneuverability at sea, making the voyage even more dangerous, especially when passing through storm-prone waters. Ordinarily, a critical malfunction like this would be immediately reported to the U.S. Navy. However, Captain George Worley did not do so. He neither sent an emergency signal to Washington nor arranged for major repairs in Barbados. Instead, he gave the order to continue the journey. On March 13, 1918, the U.S. Navy grew concerned when the USS Cyclops failed to arrive at the port of Baltimore as scheduled. Given that the ship was equipped with a long-range radio system, it should have sent an arrival signal or at least reported any issues if something had gone wrong. But there was complete silence. At first, the Navy assumed that the Cyclops might have encountered rough seas or mechanical problems, slowing its progress. However, as days passed with no word from the vessel, concern turned into alarm. The Navy swiftly launched an emergency communication effort. Radio signals were transmitted across the Atlantic, hoping for even the faintest response from the Cyclops. In addition to attempting direct contact, the Navy reached out to commercial and military ships operating along the Cyclops' intended route. But astonishingly, not a single vessel reported seeing or receiving any signals from the Cyclops after it left Barbados on March 4, 1918. This was highly unusual. Even if the ship had suffered a serious malfunction, it should have been able to send at least a distress signal, unless its electrical systems had failed entirely, or it had sunk so rapidly that no one had time to react. U.S. Navy patrol ships and warships were ordered to sweep the entire route from Barbados to Baltimore. Coastal observation stations, signal outposts, and Atlantic ports also joined the effort, hoping to spot any sign of the USS Cyclops, whether drifting wreckage or distress signals from survivors. Typically, if a ship suffered engine failure or another emergency, it would eventually drift into view of passing vessels or coastal watch stations. But in the case of the Cyclops, something truly strange happened. There were no signs at all. No debris, no distress calls, no reports of sightings after it left Barbados. It was as if the ship had never existed. After weeks of fruitless searching, the situation became increasingly frustrating. With no leads to follow, the U.S. Navy was forced to declare the USS Cyclops officially missing. By June 1918, President Woodrow Wilson publicly acknowledged, "We do not know what happened to this great ship. It has disappeared without a trace." As months passed with no results from the search efforts, the U.S. Navy began considering possible explanations for the disappearance of the USS Cyclops. The first theory was that the ship had been attacked by a German U-boat. Given that the United States was actively engaged in World War I and in direct conflict with the German Empire, this seemed like a strong possibility. However, this idea was quickly challenged when, after the war, no German records confirmed an attack on or the sinking of the USS Cyclops. The United States had access to German war archives following Germany's surrender in 1918, and no U-boat commanders ever claimed responsibility for such an action. A violent storm was the next possible explanation, but meteorological data quickly ruled this out. Weather records from March 1918 indicated no severe storms in the region where Cyclops would have been sailing. In fact, major Atlantic storms typically occur between June and November, making this theory unlikely. Another theory proposed that the ship suffered a catastrophic explosion due to its cargo, manganese ore. However, manganese itself is not a combustible material under normal conditions. It requires an enclosed environment with extreme pressure to ignite. Additionally, a large explosion would have left floating debris, which was never found. As a result, this theory also lacked sufficient evidence. Of course, there was one more theory that many could not ignore: the Bermuda Triangle. The waters in this region are known for unpredictable weather and navigational challenges, and it has long been associated with unexplained disappearances of ships and aircraft. However, Data from the U.S. National Weather Service suggests that the Bermuda Triangle is not exceptionally dangerous. Statistically, the number of disappearances in this region is no higher than in other parts of the ocean with similarly harsh conditions. The main reason the Bermuda Triangle became infamous, experts argue, is due to media exaggeration and a series of coincidental yet mysterious disappearances throughout history. More than a century has passed, yet the fate of the USS Cyclops remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries in American history. Despite numerous search efforts, from early 20th century investigations to the most advanced modern technology, not a single trace of the ship has ever been found. It was as if the vessel simply vanished into thin air, taking all 306 crew members with it. Somewhere beneath the relentless waves of the Atlantic, the Cyclops and its crew still rest, shrouded by the cold depths and the passage of time. The men who boarded the ship in 1918, hoping to return home, never set foot on land again. Their families waited in vain, their letters unanswered, as Cyclops and its 306 lost souls remained adrift, an unsolved enigma in the annals of human history.